The honourable member for Burnaby South.
There you go. They also won a by-election.
The Liberals have let people down again and again, and they are done. It's clear from the results of the election last night. The Liberals are done. Maybe it's because they keep on teaming up with the Conservatives to let greedy CEOs continue to rip off Canadians. In fact, inflation numbers show that grocery greed has driven up the food prices more than 21% in the past 3 years. Why did the Liberals team up with the Conservatives to protect greedy CEOs from a price cap on food essentials?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I hope the NDP and indeed all members of this House will set partisanship aside for one moment to congratulate Canadians at the light at the end of the tunnel, at the fact that after an extremely challenging time and its economic aftermath, inflation is back to where it was before COVID first hit. When it comes to taxes, we believe that those who have the most capacity should pay their fair share, and we've acted on that.
They got murdered in the polls.
Up with the Conservatives to let grocery greed drive up the price of food, and that's got to stop.
Yesterday, it became clear that people are finished with the Liberals. It's because they worked with the Conservatives to allow real estate giants hike rents by over 20%. Why do the Liberals keep teaming up with the Conservatives and allowing these giants rip people off? The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
I don't think anybody listening to Question Period today, or frankly any day, imagines that the Liberals are teaming up with the Conservatives.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very rare W for Freeland and the Liberals. She's got a point. She's got a point.
They are the party
I'll give her that.
of privilege and austerity. We are the party of people.
And you lost us.
We have asked those at the very top to pay their fair share so that we can support Canada and Canadians.
She had us in the first half, lost us in the second half. In real time.
Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to bring something to the government's attention, something that won't happen. The Bloc will not agree to tolerating encroachment on Quebec's jurisdiction in exchange for this or that. That won't happen. The Liberal government has to be consistent. They should implement a bill that they voted for. It's got to be one of two ways. Either they get the NDP to support them or they'll pay the price. The Honourable Minister of Labour. Mr. Speaker, speaking of clarity, will the leader of the Bloc Québécois clarify what exactly he said or would say to hundreds of thousands of Quebecers who today benefit from free dental care that he voted against? The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. It's not really clear what was voted against or in favor of. I've never voted in favor of an intrusion on Quebec's jurisdiction. The Liberals have a block bill now in their hands. All it takes is a royal recommendation. They say that we're not going to get it, and so the block bill will never go through, and seniors will never get their money. That petty little game is what they want to play. If they are not willing to do this, then we're heading for an election.
Government House leaders. Oh! Whoa, 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 whoa!
The The Honourable
The
Minister.
Bloc just threatened an election.
Mr. Speaker, the specter of an election is not going to stop us from delivering the goods for Quebecers. That's a bit much. A vote is a very clear thing, I would say to the Bloc leader. It's not as ambiguous as he claims. When they vote, when the Bloc leader votes, he votes against lowering the retirement age to 65. He voted against increasing the GIS for poor seniors in Quebec. And when we brought in dental care, he voted against that too.
I can't believe the Bloc did that.
Let's repeat. The Bloc votes against all intrusions into Quebec's jurisdiction, whether that intrusion is all by itself or in an omnibus bill. C-319 is something that you guys voted for. So follow through here. Be consistent. Make sure it enters into force. Try to rectify the injustice that you yourselves created. So for once, try to vote a little bit intelligently and a little bit consistently.
Oh, wow.
The Honourable Minister of Labour.
They got some attitude today.
The Bloc leader has spent his entire life putting Quebecers' CPP in danger, and he voted against lowering the retirement age to 65, and that had nothing to do with Quebec's jurisdiction. He was voting against seniors. When he voted against increasing the GIS, that had nothing to do with Quebec's jurisdiction, and still he voted against it. He voted against the well-being of Quebecers. He voted in favor of poverty among seniors in Quebec. The Bloc leader needs to be a bit consistent here and take responsibility for his actions.
Whoa!
We all knew that the NDP leader had sold out the people and signed on to a costly coalition with this carbon tax prime minister to tax people's food, punish their work, double their housing costs, and unleash crime in their communities. But he claimed that he had torn up the carbon tax coalition so that Winnipeggers would not fire him in a by-election. But as soon as the votes were counted, he betrayed them too and taped back together this carbon tax coalition. How can anyone ever believe what he says again?
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. It's a good one for Pierre.
There's a very uncomfortable situation here. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The NDP leader was terrified he was going to lose a by-election in Winnipeg, a NDP stronghold. So he put out a Hollywood production where he claimed he had torn up the carbon tax coalition onto which he had signed up, that he was going to stop fighting for his pension and start fighting for the people. But once the votes were counted, betrayed them again. He is a fake, a phony, and a fraud. How can anyone ever believe what this sellout NDP leader says in the future?
Wow! And he's gonna mute the mic! Come on, man! Come on! We pay our taxes. We deserve to hear what the hell's going on. He's gonna say it's unparliamentary because you can't say fake and phony, you can't name call. And then he's gonna get up and call him a wacko, I bet you. Pierre's down in the corner, and Andrew Scheer on the bottom right, the Conservative MPs there, they're looking further down the Liberal side possibly, and they're arguing with visible frustration.
Colleagues.
Come on! Dude, I am this close to doing a petition. You motherfucker! He did it again! You son of a bitch! Is the video muted? I thought it was paused. No, I thought it was a statue. I thought it lagged out. He's just standing there. This is a video. Look at him. It's running video. Stone face, stone cold Greg Fergus. What the hell is happening? I am sorry to everyone who's using headphones. I'm sorry. You should know not to use headphones when I'm streaming. Frustrating. I don't like to swear. I try to keep it PG. It's politics. It's politics. I never know who's watching. But For crying out loud, man. Are you kidding me? Put some L's down. Put some L's down for Greg Fergus. This is absolutely an abuse of power. I gotta calm down, dude. Holy shit, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for yelling. I'm wearing headphones. How loud am I? Hello? Yeah, I'm pretty loud. Sorry. Okay. Bring it. Testing. Okay. So, sorry for yelling, folks. I got these headphones on in my basement. I gotta get out of control. Greg Fergus has constantly abused that microphone mute button. And he needs to face some sort of repercussions for doing so.
Colleagues, there are some long-standing traditions of this House, which we should endeavor to respect. It is important that we ask questions in question period to make government accountable to the people of Canada. The questions, by their very nature, should be pointed, should be tough, should be specific, and the answers should also be clear. But colleagues, for this to work, we also have to make sure that we work within the rules that we have. There were some important questions which were asked, but were not related to the administration of the government. And therefore, there weren't responses to that. And it is important to make sure that we do that. We have so many other tools available to us as members to make the comments that we need to make outside of question period, to comment about how we want to do. Now, while the microphone was off, there were, I would suspect, although the chair didn't hear that, there might have been some strong words which were exchanged between members.
Yeah, you, Greg.
Ask members to please remember that Canadians are looking at us.
Hell yeah, and the majority of them looking at this fucking stream.
Really befitting of each of our constituencies and the country as a whole. So,
you, Greg. Trying to gaslight people, bro?
So with that in mind, let's move on to the next question.
2015, Ahmed Faoud Mustafa El Didi appeared in an ISIS torture video dismembering a human body on a crucifix.
Holy shit.
In 2018, this NDP Liberal government let him in, later giving him citizenship, only to find from French authorities that he was plotting a massive terrorist attack on people living in the Toronto area. Also, this last several weeks, we learned that another potential terrorist gained access as under a student visa to plan an attack on New York City Jews. Why won't the Prime Minister reverse the damage he's done to our borders, secure our country, and stop the terrorism?
Yeah.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
What's going on is unacceptable.
If the opposition was genuinely serious in his concern for national security, he would choose to get the top secret clearance that we have offered him instead of...
Then he wouldn't be able to talk. He'd be muzzled. This has been
on this side of the
explained by Tom Mulcair, previous NDP leader. No.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, carbon tax is already getting his way. Only days after he took on the unofficial and unelected role as finance minister, we learned that the company that he chairs is now seeking $10 billion federal Canadian tax dollars, money to control Canadians' pensions. So he's gone from carbon tax Carney to conflict of interest Carney and now coincidence Carney. Will the Prime Minister cut loose carbon tax Carney and call a carbon tax election so Canadians can choose their future?
Dude, no notes, no skips, no ums and ahs.
Prime Minister.
That was incredible.
Away from his security clearance, Mr. Speaker. The reality,
There's an ah.
Mr. Speaker, he is jealous that top-notch economists and world-renowned experts back our plan to fight climate change and grow the economy, but he's stuck with late-night far-right conspiracy videos on YouTube.
Hey, yo! Shout out to everyone subscribe to these channels. Far-right conspiracy YouTube videos.
The Honourable Leader.
Mr. Speaker,
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Carbon tax Carney has nothing to hide. Then he would simply sign up and have an ethics clearance and an ethics committee review. We've tried to bring him to the ethics committee, mais le Bloc québécois a travaillé avec les libéraux pour
The Bloc québécois worked with the Liberals to stop that.
follow the conflict of interest law, but the Prime Minister refuses
Wow, the
to
flip-flop in
swear him
language
in
is
as a
impressive.
public servant. So, if there is no conflict of interest, why won't Carbon Tax Carney do a full job as a public servant that can be scrutinized by our Ethics Commission rather than fleecing Canadians?
There you go. Let's put some W's, down in the live chat for Pierre.
Prime Minister.
So get this, Mr. Speaker. He's really cheesed that we didn't hire him on for the government payroll. That Mark Carney has chosen
was
to
cringe.
step up to fight with the Liberal Party against the reckless and dangerous economic plans of the Conservative Party should be an example to all Canadians. People across the country beginning to see how ridiculous and dangerous the ideas that the Leader of the Opposition are putting forward, and are stepping up to roll up their sleeves and fight back against that brokenest, austere vision of not helping Canadians, of hurting Canadians, of going back to a time where Canadians didn't have the right to.
Because he's really cheesed. What the fuck was that? Dude, that was some TikTok weirdo stuff.
The Honourable Member from Laval, Alfred Pellan.
Got to scan those shipping containers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Canadians are going through a housing crisis, and our government is proposing real solutions to do something about it. In November, we signed a $1.8 billion agreement with the government of Quebec to provide housing. Can the Prime Minister tell us about the results of that agreement, which will deliver in my riding, Alfred Pellan, and throughout Quebec? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the member for Alfred Pellan. He has worked hard for this important file. In November, we signed a historic $1.8 billion agreement with the government of Quebec to speed up construction of 8,000 housing units. We know that we can only fix the housing crisis if all levels of government work together. The Conservative leader's plan on housing is risible. In fact, it has been mocked by all experts. He wants to tear up the agreement with Quebec. He's not serious on housing. Instead, he's attacking Quebec elected officials. There's a lot of work left for him to do with these paltry policies of his.
L'opposition.